Hello and welcome to not so much a book review as a poem overview. I want to introduce you today to one of my favourite pieces of ancient poetry of all time, and I want to encourage us to talk about it and I suppose to almost do a literary review of this poem in the comments below. So I thought I'd put this in our book review series because ultimately that's probably the best fit really for today's video. Today was actually inspired by preparation for some teacher training which I delivered last week. On Friday I was talking to a room full of teachers about the Romans and how to teach the Romans, how to effectively approach the entire Roman period, not just a little sort of marble-esque 60-year period that lots of people tend to think of as being the Romans. I tried to encourage them to think beyond just the army and actually look at daily life for real people living in particular in Roman Britain, but also actually across the empire. And really it was quite a good success. People, I had a couple of people saying, this has forever changed how I will teach the Romans. I got some wonderful written feedback, so really happy about that. But part of this actually was not only giving them the Romans, but also a little bit of what came before, and crucially a little bit of what came afterwards, so that there wasn't this sort of sense of, the Romans left Britain and the last one turned off the light on the way out. It was a slower process and a much less, I suppose, dramatic process. In many ways, this idea of the Dark Ages is being just torn apart at the moment. And one of the best ways to do this, one of the best ways to introduce this post-Roman era Britain, I think, was to introduce these teachers to this poem that I'm going to talk about today. The poem is called The Ruin, and it's from something called the Book of Exeter, which is a gathering of writings. And in this instance, the poem dates to around the 8th or 9th century AD. It was written in Old English, or certainly a variant of Old English, and it's a series of observations written by a poet as probably he, maybe she, but probably he, wanders through probably the ruins of Bath. Now, the city of Bath down south is a beautiful place. I was actually there not that long ago for a family wedding. And right in the middle, as the name implies, is a bathhouse. And these Roman baths are very famous. But what the poet is observing is a world which we will never get to see. Not the polished 2,000 year hence integrated ruins of the Roman world into a modern city, but rather the Roman city in decay. The roofs collapsing, the walls falling in, and the echoes essentially of Roman life still just about visible. The details which I suppose fix in the mind of the poet are clearly things which he has seen for himself and which clearly fascinated him, and therefore we are drawn into and we are invited to share in this sense of fascination about the Roman world. And it's just an amazing poem. So here we go. Splendid this rampart is, though fate destroyed it. The city buildings fell apart, the works of giants crumble. Tumbled are the towers, ruined the roofs, and broken the barred gate. Frost in the plaster, all the ceilings gape, torn and collapsed and eaten up by age. And grit holds in its grip the hard embrace of earth, the dead departed master builders, until 100 generations now of people have passed by. Often this wall, surviving storms while kingdoms rose and fell, and now the high curved wall itself has fallen. The heart inspired, incited to swift action, resolute masons, skilled in rounded building, wondrously linked the framework with iron bonds. The public halls were bright with lofty gables, bathhouses many, great the cheerful noise, and many mead halls filled with human pleasures, till mighty fate brought change upon it all. Slaughter was widespread, pestilence was rife, and death took all those valiant men away. The martial halls became deserted places. The city crumbled. Its repairers fell. Its armies to the earth. And so these halls are empty, and this red curved roof now sheds. So there we have it. The ruin is simply astonishing, and I suppose, well, one of the ways which I tried to describe it to, for example, these teachers on Friday, was that the only thing that I can think of in the modern world which is remotely comparable would be a place like Chernobyl, you know, or like an abandoned mining town somewhere in America, or one of these places where there's an underground fire, Silent Hill style sort of thing. A place which has just been abandoned and which nature is reclaiming bit by bit. Certainly, for example, in the British urbanscape, it's unusual to come across those sorts of buildings, never mind whole sections of a city or indeed a whole town. We urban renewal is very fast here. We tend to demolish buildings very quickly, and in some places, I mean, actually, that said, there used to be, last time I was up near the Liverpool football club, in and around Anfield, there was a few streets a little bit like that, with sort of boarded up windows, this kind of thing. But even that's got a sense of preservation because it's being boarded up. This world which the poet describes is simply astonishing. The fact that we do hear about the ceilings gaping, frost in the plaster, the red curved roofs. He's describing curved Roman roof tiles there. This sense of awe for these giants who built in stone, because obviously people in the Saxon world built very much in wood. And also, I love the fact that he describes gathering places as mead halls. So he's employing his own terminology and his own, I suppose, points of reference culturally to describe what were probably, feasting halls or something. Who knows? Who knows exactly what he was looking at? But certainly his imagination was running riot. And I just love the fact that we are invited into this perspective and these observations, which otherwise would have been totally lost forever. At a site like Binchester, where we did our site visit not that long ago, we're left with essentially the dry ruins, with the very lowest sections of wall and some dry bits in the dirt. We don't see the frost, the plaster, the wood of the roofs collapsing. And we don't get a sense of decay. What we see is the finished process of decay. And that's just amazing. I just think it's so fantastic that this person felt the need to, I suppose, almost take a snapshot of what they were seeing, and presumably to share it with the people around him. But I'm just so thankful. I'm so thankful that he did, because the description is remarkable. And hopefully you guys feel similarly about it. I mean, ultimately, that's why I do Archaeosoup. It's always been, right from day one, an opportunity for me to share either specialist or slightly obscure knowledge in a forum which anyone can partake of. And in this instance, this is a very obscure reference, which for some reason I hitherto haven't thought to share, but I think it's just simply one of the most incredible insights into the ancient processes which have led to the archaeological world that we know today. It's a wonderful piece of writing. It's a wonderful accident of preservation, and I simply had to share it with you today. I'm not going to give it a score as in reviewing it. I'm not going to go with this gets 5 out of 10. Not at all, because it's, in that sense, I think it's like trying to review Homer. You can't do that. I just think it's such a captivating piece of writing, and I hope you guys have enjoyed hearing about it. Please do comment below. Let me know what you think of the ruin, and actually whether or not you want me to go through some other references and come and bring out some other interesting ancient works, because I've never really thought to do it before, but it can be so rewarding, and hopefully you guys feel the same. Also, actually, what have you noticed in this poem? What's got your attention as you were listening to it, and also seeing that imagery, which I carefully chose? You know, what do you think? Anyway, guys, I'm gonna head off now. As ever, until next time, do take care. Bye bye.